It's curvy.
It's got them nice curves.
Nice curves.
Eric and Eric here, Moski Homebrew, and today we got a product review
On the Boel bottle filler, coming up next.
This is a bottle filler.
It is a bottle filler. It's a unique bottle filler, actually.
Yeah. It's a counter pressure bottle filler.
So Boel sent us this bottle filler to review, and so we're gonna do a video on it and how it works and give you our feedback on how it works. We have two other bottle fillers. We have the Blickman beer gun is what you have, and I have a kind of basic counter pressure bottle filler with a rubber stopper or silicone stopper on top of it. And they both have unique pros and cons.
Yeah.
So we're real interested to jump into the Boel bottle filler. The first thing we're gonna do is actually mount it to my keezer. So we're gonna go over the tools needed for that, and then we're going to mount it.
So the tools you're gonna need.
Oh yeah. So the first thing you're gonna need is a drill with a 1-inch wood bit. We've got some various connectors here for the gas and beer line going into the bottle filler. We're gonna need the speed square, a pen, some extra worm clamps, and we've got a screwdriver to work with the worm clamps on the side. Then we also need tubing.
Yep.
And this tubing is a little bit different than anything else that we've had. This is a 1/4 inch. Usually our beer line is 3/16, or our gas line is
5/16.
5/16, I think.
Yeah.
It's a little bit larger. So this uses a 1/4 inch, I believe, for all three connections. That would be the beer line going into the bottle filler, the gas line going into the bottle filler, and then you also have a drain line that goes to a bucket or kind of disposed beer foam bucket.
Yeah, so this thing's kind of different in the fact you need a drain line. Like, because I don't know if you need one on the other one you've had, the counter pressure.
Counter pressure does have a drain line.
Oh, it did? Okay. So I've just used the Blickman beer gun, and that didn't have any drain line because you didn't necessarily need one because it sealed it. Anyway, so the design of this, basically the way it works is you have a beer shank, just like a regular beer faucet or a tap. This goes into your kegerator or keezer. It fits on the same kind of nut, and then you have a, what would you call this? Beer line adapter. Yeah, it's basically a barb that will fit onto the back of this, or the back of your shank, and then that's where the beer line goes. You have two lines in the back for a CO2 and a drain line, and then you have this mechanism on front which will lock in a beer bottle to seal off I guess counter pressure seal. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to say that.
And then the one, so yours doesn't have isn't necessarily your Blickman beer gun is not necessarily a counter pressure filler. Mine is a counter pressure filler, and the issue with using mine is I have to push down on the top of it to make sure that the silicone stopper seals the top of the bottle while we fill it.
So this kind of defeats the purpose, I mean, like, kind of solves that issue, is that it will basically push the bottle up into the seal and create a good seal.
Yep. We will leave a link in the description below where you can buy this bottle.
Anyway, you can look them up on Amazon. They're on Amazon.
My keezer, I'm actually just going to drill the hole for the shank. We're going to use our 1-inch Forstner or wood drill bit for the shank. I'm not going to drill the other two holes because I don't know how I'm going to if I'm going to leave this on there for a long time, or maybe I might be wanting to add another tap. So I'm just going to run 2 lines against the wall of the keezer and not drill those through inside of the fridge.
Yeah, you should have plenty of clearance if you want to do the same thing, because the shank is long enough where you could bend the tubes down and it's not going to pinch anything. So
the 2 connectors we're going to use for the beer is going to be obviously a quick disconnect, and I'm also going to use a quick disconnect for the air side. So both of my lines being used for this are going to be really short, actually.
Yeah.
So like your beer gun has a very long beer line when it came with, because you need to equal the pressure of your keg when you're filling, so it doesn't foam. And then this way, since it's counter pressure, I don't necessarily need all that.
Let's get to drilling.
Yeah, let's mount it.
Let's fix it.
We measured the locations of our other tap handles and marked where we're going to drill for the new faucet. Drilled our 1-inch hole through it, and now we're going to install the new faucet using the shank and screw. And then just mount another 1 or 2 more. Yeah, so we're going to add our barb onto the back of the bottle filler so we can get our beer inside. So now that we've got the hose barb on the back of that, we're going to add our beer line to the barb, and then add our connector for a quick disconnect. Always helps if you put the worm clamp on the hose first. So this line just needs to be long enough to get to any keg in here. Have the beer line cut. We can add our next worm clamp and quick disconnect onto the line. Tighten the worm clamp down. So there's our beer inlet. We can go to any of the kegs that we have in here. So the next part we're going to hook up is going to be the line for the ingoing CO2. This will allow us to flush out the bottles before we actually start putting beer into them, and will help prevent oxidation as we fill. Probably, just saying, probably should have put these on before we mounted this, but Eric and I love to do things the harder way.
Yep. If it's not hard, it's not worth doing.
That's Eric's favorite saying. Oh yeah, so there's plenty of room to 90 this down. And then what we're going to do is just be adding our kind of male end of a gas line post. And I can use whatever I have in the keezer. I've got 3 in there right now. So I can just connect them up to this. 1 for flushing out, and then another one in there for pushing the beer into the bottle. All right, so that's gonna be our air fill. Now this is just going to, we're gonna wrap it probably in there. This will allow us to essentially take one off of a current keg if we need it. Put it right up, and then...
Yeah, there you go. Hold on, make the horn sound again.
There's a train coming!
Sounds like a tugboat.
So the last line that we need to hook up actually is just our drain, which is over here. And this line's actually just gonna hang down for when we're filling. We'll put it in a bucket in case we overfill a bottle or just get some foam because of temperature differences. Yeah. Work it. That's probably good. Because it'll be in a bucket. It's gonna curl up and then shoot all over my pants. All right, that was actually really easy.
Yeah, let's do it.
So now that it's mounted, we're gonna show you how easy it's going to be moving forward to bottle a beer that's already in your keezer. So we've already got our air line hooked up to one of these. All we gotta do is figure out which beer we want. Do you want a cider, do you want a IPA, or do you want a New England IPA? Well, let's say we want the cider. We're gonna pull the beer line off, find the beer line that you want to put it on, put it on there. So far so good. Then, since we already got our air line hooked up, or a CO2 line hooked up, we can close the keezer.
So we got our clean bottle, sanitized bottle. All right, we're gonna hook it up right through here. There's like a rubber gasket, fits around the neck of the bottle. We're gonna twist this, and that's gonna lock it in, push it against this O-ring that's up here. That's gonna seal it. So then we're gonna purge it with CO2, all right? Then you can use this valve to let out, you know, whatever oxygen's left in the bottle after you're purging the CO2. What I like to do, and then purge it again, that puts pressure in the bottle. Then pull this, That's gonna let the beer come out and then slowly let this, turn this, I guess, nut. And that's gonna let what we have right now, a cider, fill the bottle. So the liquid's actually filling on the outsides of the bottle. That's also gonna prevent a lot of foam from forming in the bottle. Once we get about halfway up the neck, we're gonna shut the main tap off. You could get a little bit of foam. You're probably gonna get a little foam once you let this nut, release this nut a little bit. I like to hit it with another thing of CO2 real quick, just to blanket it on top. You can close it or you can leave it open. I like to leave it open, that lets some of the pressure out. Undo the bottle. Then we're gonna cap it real quick. This cap should be in sanitizer, but and you have your bottled cider. And you can see inside the bottle, I don't know if you can get that, but that's nicely carbonated. It's got a good head on it. That'll go away over time, but pretty good. Really easy. So that's how easy it is to fill these bottles. Now, my setup is a little bit different than Eric's. Let me show you, how I set mine up real quick. Right here, I have the bottle filler, which I mounted to basically a piece of wood that I mounted to the rack that I have a lot of my brewing supplies on. It's right next to my kegerator. It's easy for me to fill bottles, whatever I want. So all these lines I actually have running straight through this piece. So I mean, if this could be a setup where you guys would drill a normal hole for like a normal shank for a beer faucet, and then you could drill 2 small holes that would bring the drain line and the gas line into your kegerator if you want to do it that way. This way I didn't have to drill 3 holes. That way I could, still have a bottle filler, but I wasn't really ruining the collar on my kegerator. I wasn't really putting more holes than I wanted to in it. So this is the way I chose to do it. I have a gas line that runs to a dual regulator, and I have that set to 11 PSI, or I think it's maybe 12. It's whatever serving pressure I have my kegerator set at, which I believe is 12. So the beer line runs, and it's just connected to this 1/4-inch tubing. Then I have a piece here. This is basically a ball lock that will fit onto any of my faucets. So I can just unscrew, this here, and then this will screw onto there, which allows me to tap into any of these faucets here and fill a bottle. So that's like the quickest way and the easiest way I thought of to do it. But like I said, that's just my quick setup. I also have a bottler or a capper right there, just so when I'm done bottling, I can just cap right away. I got my caps in the corner there, but this is just an alternative to putting it into your kegerator. That way you don't have to put as many holes in your collar. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure to leave a comment below if you guys have any questions. It's a pretty simple process to put this thing into a kegerator or mount it to anything really. You just gotta drill some holes. If you're mounting into a kegerator, you'd be okay with just putting the lines down like we showed you guys in the video. So there's not a whole lot to it. You can always take it off, put another faucet in there. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment below. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys next time. Moski Homebrew. Cheers, guys.